All right, I think we are live. Oh, my microphone is playing back to me. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Crypto Warehouse. My name's Brogan, and today we are back for another trading stream. So far, so good. I'm pretty happy with the charts. Obviously, we'll go through Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Syrup, and I think we'll do SUI again. I believe, actually. Let me check the Telegram quickly, because I know there was another coin. Tito asked. Oh, no. It might just be. Oh, he's here. Good evening to you as well. Thank you for being here, Kishan. Hidden Agendas. Obviously, Mike was here. Is it alright for you, Tito? Is that alright? Obviously, I know you, in the Telegram. But I didn't see your coin. Maybe I will be covering SUI though. I have put it in my agenda, so we will be covering SUI near the end of the stream and Syrup as well. But I think so far I'm pretty happy with what we've talked about on streams. Pretty much across the board. So obviously we will be covering all that for the stream today. If you are here on Binance Square as well, I'm actually finally, I stream on Binance Square, but I actually have the chat up today, thankfully, because the stream actually got set up. So if you are on Binance Square, say hello. Obviously, if you got any coins want me to cover, I do have quite a stacked schedule, and I am known for talking quite a lot, quite fast and quite a lot. So I will try to get around if you do give a coin, but say hello anyway in Binance Square. And obviously people on YouTube, I can always see you. I will start my timer to make sure I don't go over to 2 hours and waste everyone's evenings, Thursday evenings. And I think we will just get straight into it. I think just going to look at some percentages. Also want to say thank you for everyone joining the quiz yesterday night. That was really fun. I enjoyed doing the Jeopardy questions. I did enjoy doing the Jeopardy questions. I thought it was so much better than I could have imagined. It was brilliant. So thank you guys for joining and playing along there as well. I have no idea what I'm doing. Shout out to you. Thank you for being here. Hello to you. So Bitcoin 108,123. Not too bad. 3% down 24 hours. We did hit the high, which was quite nice. So I'm not very surprised we're down a bit. 1.3% up on 7 days. So doing pretty well there. 4,500 and nearly 50 on Ethereum. Another 4% down on the 24-hour. But again, 18% on the 7 day. Ethereum has definitely been in that special scenario of just being absolutely bombastically moved up, whatever, if you will. So I'm very happy about Ethereum. And Solana, I'm very happy. Again, 3% down as well. And this is the thing, it's like we've hit good areas pretty much across the board. Or are in the process of doing our things where we've hit good areas and we're having a bit of retracement, which is fine. Again, 14% up Solana, to 18% Ethereum. Obviously, Bitcoin, it's kind of, like equalized. You can kind of see on the right hand side, it's kind of equalized, but still really good prices across the board. Let me go to 24 hours, just see who's who. I don't really care. Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised on the 24 hour anyway. Pretty much across the board we've had retracements. So we can see we can see stable coins within the top dogs of 24 hour winners. So that doesn't really matter. Obviously, probably expecting quite a big of quite a few coins to have hit a bit of a massive down move, which obviously we can see here. So I do want to see is if I can get Syrup up. There we go. So 43 cents. So what we've been saying for Syrup has been going pretty well as well. So 43 cents is not too bad. Again, we've coming from about 52 cents. So again, we kind of talked about this obviously a while ago. We will obviously recover it and have a look. And I want to look at SUI. So 375. That's not too bad. Again, I have covered it. I will cover it SUI again to have a little look. I know, Tito, you said you were going to give a coin. Opened long order in Sol, risking it. I will also cover Sol, so we will see. But let's jump onto Bitcoin, the main dog. Now, I am on the weekly here. Actually, let me say hello. KB's here. Shout out to you. You missed yesterday. I'm very disappointed, but it's okay. I'm sure you have your reasons. And I think, Kishan, I think you like the Jeopardy. I'm glad you like Jeopardy. I know there were some people who were really really miffed about Jeopardy and what was going on, how it worked. So I know some people weren't very happy with Jeopardy, but I thought it was really, really cool. So yeah. What's your opinions on shit coins like Trump and Banana? I don't really do them. I don't really look at them. If you want me to look at them, I can. But it's not my forte, if you will. I'm more of the main, Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and whatnot. But I don't really bother with them. I can't be bothered. I really can't be bothered. So I don't look at them. I have looked at them previously. I have done streams where I've been on other platforms, not to mention any, because obviously we're on Binance. I have been on other platforms where I have had to look at meme coins, and it wasn't, a lot of fun. But I did get Compete for AI out of that. Again, really, really underrated coin there. So I will say that. But anyway, on to Bitcoin. We're on the weekly here. So I have started off the stream on a bit of a higher time frame because I want to look at something we've kind of already looked at so many times already, which, I just want for even people who, just a little re-update on my opinion of what this is, and people who haven't seen me talk about the weekly in a while for Bitcoin, I want to talk about it. So I have a map out here. I've kind of mapped out price action for about 2023, this whole uptrend we've had going on. And yes, obviously it did start a bit before here, in these phases and whatnot, but obviously since this kind of move back here, if I get my brush out, since obviously back here, having this move kind of arcing downwards, basically since the most recent low before we obviously have had this nice move up in the market, I kind of want to just mark out what I'm feeling and try and use previous price action to kind of orchestrate or kind of give an opinion on how I think we're going on the wider time frame. Again, it's the weekly. This is considerably a higher time frame for Bitcoin. So I do want to kind of look at this phase of the market and talk about why what I think about it in terms of the previous two times we've moved like this, and how I think this this kind of translates to what we're doing right now. So what we can see, all I've marked out in these periods is the low to the high. Is pretty much all I have. Obviously, the most recent low, or the most relevant low before the move upwards, and obviously the high of the general move. Obviously, it can go higher, and obviously we'll talk about this in a second. But generally, just marking out this whole move. And the general idea is you just want to look for, if you're in an uptrend, and this isn't crazy to say, when you're in an uptrend, this is normally what you look at, right? This is obviously if you're just started trading and you're the first 2 or 3 days into trading, and you've looked up how to trade, this, that, the other. One of the normal questions is, what is an uptrend? You know what I mean? And then you get given, we've got a bull trend, bear trend, whatever you want to call it, uptrend, downtrend, all these sorts of phrases in the middle, and it looks like this across the board. It looks like this. So it's kind of, what this is basically this, but in a more, not numerical, but because obviously there are numbers, but it's not exactly like it has to hit 0.705. But it's kind of trying to use this really common market structure and try and see if we can find a consistency in how it moves. And in this case, obviously, is what I'm going to talk about now. So the idea is you have this equilibrium point where you have the low point to the high point, and anything coming when you actually officially start the downtrend. So on the lower time frames, on the weekly here, on the daily 4 hour, we probably start to see downtrend. Obviously lower high here, and then we actually start this move. And then from there, you then watch, okay, cool, how are we moving, what are we doing? And the general idea, in obviously my opinion, not financial advice, is you want to kind of aim towards 0.5 or lower. Just aiming towards equilibrium. Where in theory, if you're above this equilibrium average, this kind of averaging out the move, you've averaged out this entire move. The idea is, you come back down anywhere at 0.5 or lower is the average, or 0.5 or above. Technically, if you're doing it, not above because it's lower, less of a number. But if you're like this, okay, that's not the right tool. It's like, what I mean? It's above. But anyway, the idea is you come to these areas anywhere 0.5 or above. Or below, obviously. No, technically is above, because it's technically is above. Is the general area you want to aim for a trade. So I'm kind of just marking out the last kind of moves we've had in the market. And the thing is with this is it's not a thing where you draw it on the first high and that's it, boom, you're done. That's your trend. Because you have to trail the high, and this is what I'm going to talk about. This is why I have this drawn. In terms of a black box, if you will. I'll have this drawn, and I will obviously talk about it. So the last two moves, we can see the same thing. Obviously, I have it in a big, nice red circle. Beautiful little red circle here. If you're like, what am I looking at? What's going on? What candle am I supposed to be looking at? It's just look at the red circle, the big red circle. Go primitive mind. Simple. I see color. I look. Red circle. Okay, and the general idea here, it's also the same in these areas. Now, this is, it's not just a magical area. You have to find a reason for price to actually stop at these prices. I'm not going to go into it because, again, I'm going to be here all night. I've spent 8 minutes and I've only just got into it. So I'm not going to talk about exactly the pinpoint of why I think it stops at this point or this point or this point. But generally, okay, you look at you know, these expansionary candles. You look, okay, cool. This general area could be a buy area. You have obviously these areas of expansion. Obviously, we do come into them, and this is the thing. It's like this is technically above the high, or this is above the equilibrium. So it's in theory, if it's officially stopped its move upwards, because again, you can have a move up and a semi move down and then a move up again. Obviously, we can see here, for example, with this massive move upwards and then this like high, and then we actually we have the first low in this entire move. The first low, we then do a higher again. This to make sense, to be fair, this is on the grand scheme of things, which you have a massive move upwards and a higher low. It was very impossible for this move to come anywhere near 56 and then start to do a downtrend. You know what I mean? So we did this really higher low, another high, because again, that's what the price is doing, and then we got past this low on the lower time frames. We were obviously, you'd watch for the reversal, and then from there it's like, okay, cool, we then want to watch it go lower. And then what do we see here? The exact same thing we saw back here, where we are below equilibrium within this area, and we want to look for a long, obviously coming about somewhere 79.3 and below. Obviously, you're like, oh well, we should hopefully come to 72 and below, and that's the optimum area. But obviously, this is again the weekly. When I look at this more often on the 1 hour, and obviously people who've been here on my streams consistently, you would have seen I always draw this tool, and a lot of the time it does come to these areas. And again, I always say the same thing. This isn't it has to come to this area. It's a general rule of thumb. So that's kind of what I want to mark out here with these two lows coming into. Obviously, this is another expansionary area, and the difference between this was it seeped, because like this one, for example, the whole expansionary area was above equilibrium, so we weren't in the efficient area for a buy. Whatever you want to, you know, however you want to think about it is what I'm kind of trying to talk about here. Well, okay, this is not below equilibrium, so the general idea is we won't see our max pain low of this general move, the higher low, before we move up again. Because again, this is all this is, even though the weekly time frame, and it takes a long time for this stuff to happen, it's just an uptrend. It's just an uptrend. So yeah, that's what I have marked out. That's just kind of put it out. Now what I want to do is hide everything but the current one, just to give an example. I do have this high marked out. I'm going to actually hide this for now, just to get out of the way. So this is the same thing I've drawn on the weekly, same time frame, same thing I've drawn, same method of drawing it. And it gives this general area of where you want to look for. Now the thing about this, and this is what I really want to, you know, just drill into the minds of people listening to this and trying to, you know, to look at what I'm looking at. It's not that this is the high. That 24.4 is the high. This doesn't, because again, I could have drawn this here and it's like, okay, cool, we're definitely going to go down now. It has to have reason to actually start to go downwards, or the market has to start to go downwards. So in this case, it's like, okay, we've come up, we've had this massive move, and then we've had a low at 98. So we've come up again, and now in this case, we'd have to come on the weekly time frame anyway. We'd have to come below 98, you know, not 101, to actually technically be in a downtrend. But what happens when we have a high and then a new higher low and then another high like this, and then we're starting to come downwards? The idea is that, okay, well, this is our low now. This is our low now. So what does that mean? In theory, that, okay, well, we've started this move upwards, and it's a lot easier. The more higher highs you do, or the more higher lows you do in your movement, and you're not expanding away, because again, this is different. We've expanded. This was the start of the move. We've come from the previous move, we've come down, and now we've expanded. This is different. And then obviously we've had a retracement and expansion again, normal price action, and now we've kind of had these equal candles, and now we're not really expanding again. You know, we haven't had this retracement and we've expanded. We haven't moved up, but we've had a retracement. So the idea is that since we haven't had this, you know, furious expansion away, that it's a lot easier for us to get towards these lows again at 112 and start to actually print downwards. And then once we start to see this properly, and yes, on the weekly it's 112, but it could be lower on the daily. It could be 116, let's say. Or that's an example. I'm not saying it is. And then from there, it's aiming at, okay, from here, where are we going to see the low? Well, it's 99.5 and below. So again, it could be, as we've seen, it could be as high as immediately the equilibrium at 49.4. It could wick as low as nearing this 0.62 percentage area, if you will. So it's just this one big pile up of it, you know, within this 100k. And I know what Mike's been saying. I think he said 105 for the bull market support band, or whatever it was. So it's kind of in confluence there, in terms of there being this idea. Obviously, I know he has his methods, I have mine, and whatnot. I see some chat actually across the board, so I will stop my words in a minute and actually read it. But yeah, so it's kind of the general idea of being within this 99k area. And yes, okay, cool. Yeah, I have been talking about 90k for ages, but it's not a guarantee, and that's kind of my point I'm trying to make. It's not a guarantee for this to be the move, and it's not also the case where, because in this case, you know, we did have this low and we have this high, but it's like, okay, well, if you're not in an uptrend and you've printed past the low, you're in a downtrend, and in a downtrend you want to aim for the low, but then you have to really pay attention to what the market's actually been doing. So it's not so much of a case where, oh well, what if this time's different? What if we start a downtrend from 124 and we don't stop and we go all the way down? That I don't think will happen, considering how we've moved, and this, and obviously yes, we have this, and we did come into it a tiny bit with this low, but this whole area we've not even conceivably visited yet. So I definitely think we're going to see support in this area. So I think, regardless of what I see right now, and again, like I've said, this can go higher. You know, I'm saying, like, if we go to standard deviations again, this can go to 127 if we continue to do highs. And this is why I want to go back to the lower time frame and actually talk in the current world, you know what I mean? And not in the theory, you know, la la land. So this can go higher if if the price continues to do so. Obviously, we will look at this in a second. And that will then mean these percentages will change. It doesn't really necessarily change the idea, though. The idea is it comes within this area for this major expansion we've had, where we've had this massive move upwards, and obviously we have, you know, we've done the same thing here, for example, where we've had this move up, we had this low, we did a new high wick, and then we moved down. So it's kind of similar here, where it's like, on the example, I'm not saying it will happen, I'm just giving an example, on the idea that we've had the expansion, massively loud bike then. We've had this, slight move downwards, which has come, slightly into this area. And then we've had another high, slight wick high. So it's kind of similar to what we've had here. And then we've dumped to fulfill what we've had here. And then we've come to, obviously, the optimum area, if you will, whatever, the area where you want to, below equilibrium, basically. So same thing here, it's pretty much the same thing. We have this move, we have the really high low, a wick above the high, and then we've pumped downwards, and then we've pumped. If we map that out with what we've had this move, we've had a bit more of a retracement or expansion retracement, if you will. Yeah, expansion retracement. And then we've had the same thing where we've kind of had this go on. And if we draw ahead of what we've got here, not saying it does come down to here, obviously it could be here, but it's the general same thing. If we shimmy this along, it won't fit exactly the same. But especially with these highs, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? Especially with this move here. Now, I'm not saying price has to follow its history every single time, and that the price will guaranteed do the exact same thing it did last time. But, in terms of trying to follow a pattern or follow a general market pattern, I could definitely conceivably see this being the case. Especially seeing as though we actually have something. It's not just a chart pattern. We have reason to suggest why this could be an interesting area that price will still want to come to if we have a massive slowdown and we print past this low. Where's price going to stop at? So it's not so much of a price. I mean, yeah, price would probably, price would probably if it's extremely doing highs and we start to dump, price will want to come to here. It's not so much price has to come to here, but it's like the likelihood chance of us eventually seeing us come past these lows is high. Again, nothing goes up forever, and then from there, it's where would price stop at? What is the conceivable? What's actually a logical area where price would stop at to see a low before we do a wider trend higher high, is what I'm saying. So for me, obviously, this is this main area, and not just because these random lines, these random magical numbers are here. It's also because of this whole area we've seen. And yes, we do have this low as well to focus on, which is about 98k. So within this area is definitely something I would want to focus on. So that is kind of that's my TED Talk on the weekly for Bitcoin. I will now go on to the real world and look at some 4-hour and 1-hour stuff and something actually actionable. Not saying actionable because this is not financial advice. Make sure you trade based on your own volition, whatever. So yeah, that's, again, I've kind of already talked about this quite often, and obviously people who are here who have seen my streams before, you will know what I've pretty much already talked about this, and it's kind of just the same thing over and over again. But just wanted to recover it again. As the longer we go on, the more potential this has to happen, especially if we're doing these higher lows within 112k. So in this case for me, it's not like I've seen this move upwards and I'm focusing on this low to be the one we're in the downtrend. We've done the new low. This is technically, if we have this move down, and we've moved upwards in these candles. This is now going to be a significant low. It's not like a a massive dump and a massive pump, but this is technically a significant low now. On the weekly, bear in mind, this is now a significant low. So it is the next low I will be watching to see if we just could start to come down. Obviously on the lower time frames, if we start to reverse as well. The likelihood chance that we do start a wider time frame weekly downtrend is a lot higher now that we've done this low. And where will we come to? It's going to be these massive expansion areas, which we haven't seen in a long time, which is sitting within this 100k area, 98, 97 area. That's my opinion. So that's what I wanted to say. So let's jump down to the 4 hour bit. I don't really know. We had this. I think this is the new TA. So what we were looking at last. I think let's go to the 1 hour here. So I know it's very messy. I do apologize. Actually, you know what? Let me look at the chat. I did say I was going to look at the chat. Hello, I gave you miss your answers on Wednesday. The bear new one. Yeah, the whole the space time continuum. My camera's just gone blue. Hold on. There we go. The space-time continuum of the quiz nearly broke. All right, we've nearly had people who have not seen one in a long time win the quiz. So that was yeah. But the Jeopardy was tough. Yeah, I think I get people, and the thing is, I think it was mainly an American show. So I even me, like younger, I didn't watch it or anything. I also, and I said this during the quiz, I didn't really understand how Jeopardy works until a lot later in my life, than I would like to admit. Obviously, it's not like super complex. It's just the question is the answer and the answer is the question. So it's just a bit of a reverse. But I wish obviously you can go watch the stream. I was going to say I wish I recorded it, but we did record the whole thing. It's live. But the first question or two of Jeopardy, people were miffed. People had no idea what was going on. Because the first 16 of the 25 questions, or the first 15 questions, everyone got every single one right, and I was very disappointed because I wasn't very excited anymore for the quiz because everyone was getting it from right. And then we hit the Jeopardy questions and it all changed. But yeah, I loved it, and the UI I think is a lot nicer. I got the exact same font as the Jeopardy font, but I do want to add a little TV to it to make it a bit more immersive, and make it a bit more like old school. But I don't want it to be like in the way. But yeah, Jeopardy was really fun. But yeah, had last minute errands and got back. Yeah, that's the thing. You have your reasons. It really doesn't matter. So we'll do another one on next Wednesday. So it's not like I'm gonna die tomorrow. Touch wood. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen. Lightning might come out the sky and blast me and kill me. But I should be, hopefully, if I'm still alive, there next Wednesday to do another quiz. So you know what I mean. Let me read the bio chat. Let me zoom in because a very small chat. I agree. If we come back to the market that was a disaster 2 to 3 weeks ago, it shows the same signs as before. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I agree because like we were watching, or I was watching anyway, watching the exact same, because obviously the people on YouTube and obviously some of you maybe on Square could obviously vouch for me here. We've also been talking about before, obviously pre new high. We were talking about 90k, these 92k, 86k areas, all that sort of stuff. So. Yeah, if it just comes back to these areas and it's done this new thing, absolutely, it's going to be the same thing. So it's just going to be the same thing I've already talked about. But yeah, absolutely. If we do come back, and again, it's all ifs, but maybe this, that, the other. This I'm going to hide because we've already used. This was for. Oh no, it's all messy. Okay, let me. Okay, it's very messy, I know. So this, I'm not going to use this because this was for this move, which we did quite nicely here. We obviously touched this blue area. We slightly wicked past this low. This was order block as well here, coming into this old one, which came into this gap, which we obviously talked about. Used it, obviously found support in this midline, started the uptrend here, obviously coming past this high, and then obviously aiming for this. And I mean, again, I was saying with the likely chances we'll probably aim for the highs again, as this is a retracement. This was just something I wanted to draw on the lower time frames, but again, this is the same thing, and this is what caught me out. And I will admit this, I'm going to hold my hands up here. I'm not going to actually hold my hands up because my camera's going to go blue. But what caught me out in the idea of the higher time frame when we pumped and I was like, oh, we're going to dump again, was because of the fact that even though I'm looking at a retracement, I was looking at resistance. It does not matter because this is a retracement. We are in an uptrend. This is just a retracement, and the next thing you do from a higher low, ceteris paribus, as I said last stream, ceteris paribus, all things being equal, we will continue. Because again, this was Tuesday. We were looking at it. We were looking at this right here. And what I was saying was, we've done this higher low, we've come past this area, we've started coming upwards, we should aim for the highs. And we've done that. And what have we done now? Which is why I want to start to watch for a bit of a difference in the price action. Well, what do you guys think this line is? What's this magical line here? What's this? Oh, where's this going? This is the old high. Obviously, we were doing our highs here. We did this, massive expansion, massive retracement. So this is going to be an interesting high as well. This probably was an old high back here. Obviously, we had all these lows, which I talked about, this massive pump. So again, coming past all these highs, massive pump, high. This 122.3 is going to be very interesting. But also, the maximum all-time high is... Hey, I'll hold my hands up. Maybe I'm wrong here. Obviously, this is my opinion. But I think the all-time high is going to be a very interesting price to also target. So, and if we really just look at this on a general trend, this is a very easy thing to comprehend. We have the general market. Now, I did draw a thing for this. We'll draw it again. If we look at the high... Oh, no. Was it here? Oh, I have it drawn. I think I hit it. Was it this one? No, that's not it. I think I drew this. I mean, we had it from here for this one because this was the most recent low. Did I draw it from here? I don't think I drew it from there. I don't think it was this one because we had this move and then we had this last significant low before the major pump. So I did draw it from here. I had it on the lower time frame drawn from here because that's what on the lower time frame was, and that's why we had this blue line. But on the daily I drew it from here, as obviously this was the continuation of the move, and then we had this high, which did the first higher low, and then started us to move upwards. So this was the most recent low before the move upwards. So that's why I drew it from. I got confused then because I saw this low, but drawing from that low, same example. We had this move. Where was I going for this? I just actually lost what I was saying. Yeah, here it was. Yeah. The move, the high, the low, the higher low into this area, the high to do a new high. Okay, that's what it was. So there you go. Now, and this is the thing with retracements. Retracements only work when you're still going up. So I'm not some like little 7-year-old who's like sucking his thumb and he's like drinking milk out of a little baby bottle and going, oh, what do we do? Well, every time we go up, we have to do a higher low and it will come, because nothing ever goes up forever. You know what I mean? So, I'd be foolish to go, oh, well, look, guys, we've just done a new high and a new higher low, so we're just going to come to 115.6, which is, I swear I had it marked out. Which one did I have? Yeah, here it was, yeah. I marked that before the stream so I could talk about it. So same thing here. It's like, oh, 115.6, we're going to see the low here. Now, I'm not saying we can't see the low here, because again, this is obviously the area. But, and again, this is the thing. It's like, I'm not going to get tricked out with this. It's like, yes, if we start a downtrend to proceed to these areas, we are going to see an uptrend. But the magnitude of support to have, considering this as well, and this is the main thing why I'm feeling a bit different about this, is because we have come past to do a new high above the highest high we've ever had for Bitcoin. So the chance that this absolutely expansion, and again, this isn't just a retracement where we've started a downtrend, we've expanded downwards, a faster expansion, we have probably equal expansion velocity if we compare this to when we were pumping. So look, like this is the box. This is the box, and this is the box. Obviously, we had the wick here. To be fair, it should go from here technically as of right now. But obviously, if we do it from here, this is about the gap. So we have had a expansion which equates the expansion we had when we started to pump, which hit the new high. So I'm not saying we can't have a massive expansion and then find support relatively high. But the fact that we've continued to expand downwards, coming past this area here and printing past this area at 118, and we're starting to do new lows. If we go to the 1 hour, uptrend, boom, boom, do nothing. Obviously, low here, up, and then higher low. We didn't print past this, higher low, up, new low, up, print past all this. We have now, on the 1 hour anyway, obviously, officially printed below all this. We have had a massive expansion. And this is what happened with Ethereum as well. This is what I said on $3,400, $3,500. Even though the max retracement was $2,700, what I was saying was I'd be very, very surprised if we didn't see support at 3,500. And what do we see? We saw 3,500 support, a higher low, and then we pumped again. Same thing here, but on the reverse. Even though, obviously, yes, we are coming into below equilibrium, this, that, the other, whatever. I'd be very surprised if we don't find support. Even if we find support down towards 115, this will be printing past all this, doing a new low, and the rate we are moving with this expansion, the likelihood chance that we see another higher high above the highest of the highs, in my opinion, I don't really think we will do that. In my opinion. So, let me draw this out. We have this massive expansion downwards. And we have resistance, 120k area down here. And I personally think, I could be very wrong, again, not financial advice, but what we are doing, and this is the thing, the reason why I'm different, this isn't just, again, this was a normal uptrend, but obviously we go up until we find reason to stop, we go down until we find reason to stop. I think coming above, like I just said, I think coming above the max all-time high for Bitcoin is valid enough reason to find we're going up until we find the top. And that is obviously my non-expert opinion, but we've done that, and now we've absolutely dumped past all these lows on the 1 hour. On the 4 hour, yes, we are printing past this candle body, was changing the state, whatever you want to coin it, but the lows are here anyway, and we're going to print past this in no time. We're going to print past 118, we're going to come down, we're continuing to expand. I think we're going to come towards this retracement area, and we're going to absolutely floor it. Now, okay, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. Let's calm down, okay? I'm scaring the children. Let's rest. Sparkling water, by the way. It might look like a beer bottle. It's not. So that's my opinion. Do I have much else to say about Bitcoin? That's kind of it. I mean, obviously I can give some numbers if you want, but I mean, okay, if we are starting a downtrend, and especially a higher time frame downtrend. I mean, this is the thing though. It's like I don't think the thing is about this though. If we start a downtrend with at max pain velocity. Actually, no. The low is at 98. But if we go to the daily, like the low... Let me make sure I'm not being a fool. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, because I could be, I want to make sure I give them the most valid, proper price. My camera's gone blue. There we go. I want to give, the most proper, educated opinion. That's what I think. Yeah, you know what? Let's just move. I want to move on. It's like 29 minutes. I've got a lot to cover. Let's actually just move on. So I just want to quickly glance at the 15 minutes just to watch how we reversed. In terms of, okay, checklist of, okay, we are coming above the all-time high. I just wanted to look at the order block we formed, and then the proportion block, and then the resistance, and then we formed resistance, because again, obviously expanding up and then having this candle come down, and then coming up into it, resistance here, and then obviously this is the last up close candle, we engulfed it, and then we had a proportion block, we found resistance at 123.8 as well, and then we came down. I just want to quickly glance at that as I was nosing at it, and obviously we then did this low, and then found resistance in this area, and then print past this low, and that was our bye time. Anyway, that's it for Bitcoin. Let's go to Ethereum. I've seen a Tron. What do you think about Tron? Or Tron even? I can look, and okay, what I will say, I will try. I am a notorious yapper. As you can see, we've only hit 20 minutes, and I've just finished Bitcoin. So I will try to get to it, but I do have Syrup and Sui I do want to glance at. But the Syrup and Sui, I've already done the TA for them. So I'm kind of just going to give a quick update. It'll take like a few minutes, maybe 2 minutes, whatever. I say that anyway. So okay, we will see, but I will try look at I'll try look at Tom. Ethereum. What was I saying? Let's see. I have this. What is this? Okay, let's just. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's just make a new group. I'm a monster, man. I'm the group monster. What are we talking about? I think we're talking about this. I think we're just talking about retracements, really. I think Ethereum's in a bit of a different scenario in the sense that, we have come above. Oh no, actually we haven't. Yeah, oops. We haven't come above it. So Ethereum, we haven't hit that. You know what I'm saying? Whoop area at 4,800. So I mean, I'm not too concerned. Let's just jump down. I've got time. You know, I haven't got time for this. Oh, yeah, I was just looking at. I was just drawing to see what the percentages was going to be. We don't really. I mean, I'm not drawing that because I haven't taken. I think I was looking at the 15-minute here. I was just watching this. In terms of seeing us come up, and then seeing us print past this major area. I think was the 1 hour? Yeah, this was 1 hour. Same thing on the 15-minute though. Like same concept. Major low, massive move upwards, massive expansion downwards. And then just watching the start of this downtrend potential where we have this massive expansion. I think this is a 15-minute, the 1 hour expansion, and then obviously looking for the midpoint and then downwards, and obviously stop at the high, stop at the high, and then coming down to slow. So we're doing that. Obviously, this is a good price action expansion, decent retracement, not expansionary upwards, expansion downwards, decent retracement. This is good price action so far, because again, we don't want expansion. Because then it's muddy, it's sloppy work. But this no expansion, decent retracement again, black. I'm not saying we have one black candle, it means it's good, but it's like this is like consecutive expansion downwards, and then we have a normal good retracement expansion downwards. Obviously we do have these little candles, but you can see like we have black, we have this green equal, then a black which kind of comes quite far down, and then quite big candles to come back upwards, and then we continue downwards, and we've had this massive expansion, and now we're only really starting this retracement, so really only thinking about getting up to here. And if we look at it on the lower time frame, let's go down to the 5-minute and look at this inter trend here. Following this low, we can see we printed above this candle here, so this is now starting the move upwards. We can see we're having this retracement up into this area. This singular gap is basically covering this entire area. So coming up towards 4,589 against the 5-minute here, so this is just getting a bit low. But I think relative to the time frame, looking at this retracement coming towards somewhere in this just massive area here, especially coming past all these highs. We have these kind of relative equal highs, and we have this gap, which obviously sits at the within this midpoint area, about 4,580-ish. So again, we're still coming upwards now into this area, doing our thing. So just kind of showing a bit more signs that we are continuing downwards, just following what I have drawn there quickly on the 15 minutes. But I'm going to hide that. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to hide that. I'm going to hide this and this. I think this and this. Nope, never mind. I can't do that. I hate making 15 million groups, but it's just what you got to do. So I think Ethereum. Again, I don't want to give TA which opposes. Ethereum's going to go up and then Bitcoin's going to go down and then Solan's going sideways. But again, that's just how the market works. So I mean, we're coming downwards. We haven't started an uptrend. We're in this downward trend, continuing towards 4,400. And I think the main thing for me, especially if we go to the daily, is like it's not. And this is why I have this main thing drawn. It's not, again, yes, on the 4 hour. This is like move upwards, and then we have these lows. So if we were to get past 4,100, that's not a good sign. But looking at this is a pretty good area. We've only just come into the midpoint of here of it as well. But on the daily, even if we are to come even that low, we have to pay attention to what we've been doing. We've had this massive expansion, tiny retracements, massive expansion, tiny retracement. Even if we have a tiny retracement, it doesn't matter. I still think Ethereum is aiming for the highs. And I still think we have a tiny bit of a poot upwards before we have a massive dump or whatever. But I think Ethereum can still aim for the highs. I think it was like 4,800. We're very close to it. So I think Ethereum could continue to do it. I think there could be opposing works on Bitcoin and Ethereum here, but relative. I think what I'll just leave off with Ethereum is I think we're still aiming for the highs. And if you were to look for anything, I didn't think we'd come down to here because again, even this retracement, it was only like if we go from the max high to the max low, it was only like 4% within this candle. Obviously, we came up again, but even with that, it's like if we go to the 4 hour, I think coming towards 4,368 could be a relatively good retracement for a move ups, especially considering this. But again, this was the height of the move upwards, so maybe it's a bit less of a retracement. Maybe we can have a bit more of a retracement. But I still think relative to our whole move, this entire thing on the daily is just massive up candles. I do think Ethereum could have more than enough power in it to find another higher low and continue back up towards aiming for the highs again. So that's what I'll really leave off with Ethereum, aiming for the highs again. I do need to move on. I've got some things to cover. Solana, what were we looking at? Let's see. So we were looking at, we had this move down, and then we had this massive candle upwards. And I think I was just kind of looking at it as wicking to the support. It obviously looks like we're coming down continuously. We've had a massive expansion, printing past this. Have we come to an area of interest, or we've done anything of importance? We have come past a high. We've come past a decent high here. on here. And oh wait, isn't this? Hold on a minute. Do my eyes deceive me? It is. Oh. We've also wicked past the other high I was talking about a long time ago. I was talking about this high, basically 24th of July-ish. I was saying, if I see a move up, I would expect this high we did and the highest of these series of highs to be interesting area for a reversal point or a point to aim down. And what do? We wicked past that high by a schnickel of a penny. Schnickles of pennies. And now we've started to expand downwards. Great success. That was an awful accent. I do apologize. But yeah, pretty good. Happy. Happy. So, okay, we have reason. We have reason to come down. Very good. We are expanding downwards. 1 hour, we've printed past here. We've come down. We've come to order block. We're continuing downwards. We've expanded downwards. I think we continue downwards. So, we now have our direction. What do we look at then? Well, we want to look for Y. We have this wider trend retracement, which I obviously would want to pay attention to, but similar with Ethereum, I do want to do the 4-hour retracement. And you also can see basically this entire block, this support sits midpoint about 181, 184. I think what I was thinking before the stream, I think 176, 176 area max low could be a good area to aim for as well. But I think we're continuing to retrace, so I would expect Solana to come down. So that is actually quite not great. And that's his opinion. This is opinion. I am not always right, and you guys should know this. But Tito, I know you said you long Solana. And hey, I might be wrong. I don't know when you've longed. I don't know when you're getting out. I don't know all these things. So, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, the old famous OTA. Yeah, I know. But anyway. So yeah, Solana, continue downwards. Cool. Look, 20 minutes. We're not doing bad. We're not doing too badly. I just covered Solana and Ethereum in no time. We're also doing a stream with Yikes soon, which is very cool. Let me get the Telegram up so I can tell you some more information. I think we're aiming to do it on Saturday. Obviously, depending on what time frames you guys are on. It's going to be about 12 p.m. UTC plus 2. So I know that is about 6 p.m. UTC plus 8, 11 a.m. UTC plus 1. So UK time, I believe that is. So yeah, we're doing a stream with him. Topics we have so far, I don't want to say exactly what we're going to, because it could change. We're going to talk about some breaking news. We're going to talk about how we feel about the cycle so far, what we think the all-time high is going to be, and then we're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana charts. So yeah, if you do want to join on Saturday, that's what we'll be doing. And I would probably urge you guys, because again, but the annoying part about it is I stream Saturdays on my charts. I will still do Saturday. So if you're not going to make it for the 11 a.m., I will cover it on Saturday. And a good thing about that is if I do the charts, because I will also look at the charts on that Saturday stream in the morning, then the Saturday afternoon stream should also be a bit shorter. Well, not shorter, but quicker, because I would have already covered it in the morning. So obviously, if you can only join the afternoon, I will still recover it again. So I will say Saturday, we'll be streaming again. We'll be streaming in the morning with Yikes, talking about the markets. So that will be very cool if you guys join that. So that is my promo of the stream, if you will. So yeah, Solana, as I've talked about, we obviously just wicked onto that top end of that support. I still think we're coming down. I don't think that's the stopping point of the move down for Solana. I think we are shimmying down a bit more. Again, we've only just really started this expansion. Considering where we've come from, we've come not only above this massive high before this massive expansion, but we haven't printed above this high, and we've wicked past that major high back there, which I was talking about quite a while ago. So all these things stacked up, we haven't printed a high, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's not great. But also, to be fair, now that I'm looking at it though, if we haven't printed a new high and we've wicked past all this, similar to how we've done with, not so much on Bitcoin, but on the daily we've only wicked, same with Solana, we could expect a bit more deeper movements. So what I will say, if we expand downwards towards 176, I could expect retracement. I will see how the price continues, but if we really look at it on like these higher time frame things, scenarios, especially on the daily, it's like I do think we could come a bit deeper towards these areas, but we haven't done a new high. We haven't technically printed a new high. Even though we've done a higher low, we haven't quite yet done a higher high, and especially on the lower time frames, we are reversing on the lower time frames, which means if that continues, we will continue to down the higher time frames. So if we don't find some major support and do a new high, we could definitely continue downwards and start to expand downwards, and then to come past this low at 156. But again, I'm not not fear mongering, if you will, but I'm not gonna do that. But to be fair, we do have support here. I will say this is going to be some support. We have this we had this gap here. We have this candle coming into it, expansion upwards. And then we have these candles here. We have this propulsion block. Then we have this candle. And this is also probably going to be a propulsion block as well. So sitting again about $155. But that's further ahead in the future for Solana. So what I will leave off with for Solana is currently right now anyway, coming into this area, 181, coming towards 180, this general area of support. But I mean, if we're reversing and properly reversing, we could come deeper past this. Even if we do a higher low, expand downwards, find resistance, and continue downwards. But what I will leave off with anyway is Solana will continue to reverse or retrace downwards or expand downwards or whatever you want to say. So that is what I think about Solana. Prices, again, I gave about 176, 180. Like, I know that's quite a wide range for Solana, to be fair. I think what I would say is probably on the latter end of like 180, like within this area of 180, 184 is probably what I'd say, coming down to this area. But again, obviously, if the price action across the board continues to be a bit negative, I would expect the price to continue downwards as well. So that is Solana. 15 minutes, not bad. Let's go to Syrup now. There we go. So what have we looked at? Let me read the chat though quickly. I'm not reading that one out by Mike because that is discriminatory against a certain platform. BB's here. You will love what I'm about to do. I'm about to go on to Syrup. So hello to you as well. And let's go on to Square Chat. Let me bring it up on my main monitor so I can read it easier. PK Trading, I'm not signed in on this computer. The stream is running on a different computer, so I can't follow you right now unless Mike decides to follow you. So yeah. I don't want to change the subject of the stream. I was just curious. Don't worry. You're not changing the point. I do ask as well, like people at to suggest coins. And we've got 50 minutes left. I'm sure I can cover Tom. I'm sure I can cover Tom. Because again, like I said, Syrup and Sui are both. I've already covered them, so they should take not a long time to cover. There we go. Short timing. Okay, so Syrup. What have we talked about? I know I sound like a stopped track record or trapped. Is it? No, it's trapped record, isn't it? It's trapped record. It's not tracked record. I'm an idiot. I'm 20 years of age, and I've just learned that. It's is it It's just stuck record. A broken record. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. The phrase. You guys know the phrase. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'll sound like a repetitive. The alarm in the morning when you've snoozed it 5 times. That's what I'll sound like. So what we've looked at, obviously, the people who have only been here recently. Basically, we obviously have talked since about this. This is actually quite similar to... this is actually slightly similar to what we could see about... Slightly similar to what we're actually kind of doing now across the board, where we've only really wicked on the daily anyway, wicked above the all-time high. And then, obviously, in this case, we've gone a bit further. We've printed past this. Obviously, we printed past this low, which obviously for me is like, okay, cool. We've printed past this a candle body low. This is obviously, we could potentially change state. This is showing signs where we could potentially slow down. And in this case, yes, we had a massive expansion, but we only wicked above the high. And if you think about retracements, what do you have to do? You retrace to do a higher low, and then you print to do a higher high. We didn't do that. We did a arguable lower low, expanded, yeah, we did come to an all-time high, but we wicked and we printed at 58. So we didn't do what we needed to do. And then what happens there? Okay, cool, we print a new low, and now what we're doing, we found resistance in a lower high in the old internal range, and now we're coming down. So what do you think I'm going to say? Now, I don't want to be a negative Nancy, and again, nothing goes down forever, nothing goes up forever, all this sort of stuff, and Syrup's still loading, and all these people on Twitter say it's still loading, guys. Get your bags in early. Do you know what I mean? Like liquidity, money. isn't there yet or whatever. Obviously, it's going from Bitcoin and Ethereum to altcoins, so SERP's going to pump in its own time. But if we follow the rule of thumb in my mind, not financial advice, is if we're in a downtrend and we do a lower high, we want to aim for a lower low. That's all I'll say. So yeah, to give an update on that, actually now present for people who are here. We talked about this on Tuesday, which was about here. So we talked about it on it was about 48. We were just about coming down. So what have we done? Well, we've continued downwards. So obviously, if you shorted that stream, if you shorted back on the Saturday, oh no, it was Thursday. I was talking back here. I was saying I think we'll hit 52, which is obviously this line. We'll hit about 52, and then we'll probably continue back downwards. It's on your screen, it's on my screen. You know what I mean? Again, I don't want to sound like I'm a gloaty gloater, because I do get things wrong, obviously. I'm not a supreme trader, but I have talked about this coming to about 52 cents since we did this move. Okay, I've been talking about this since here, because I covered a 15-minute reversal here. It was beautiful. We were here. It was Saturday, 10 p.m. I covered this reversal as it was happening. I was saying we've come past these blue lines are two lows we've had, and we had this green line is the midpoint of a order block. We had support here and these two lines which we wicked past. On the 50-minute we were starting to reverse, and what I said before I ended the stream was, it looks like we're reversing on the lower time frame. We've come past a lot of higher time frame points of interest. I could expect us to long from here. And then I said long, and I've talked about 52 cent because we had this massive retracement. Expansionary retracement. Oh no, we had this massive expansion, and I said we retrace back up into the optimum area. So if you were to catch that roughly, let's say about here, it's about a 31% move up. Again, I'm not claiming this as a thing which is magical and look at how good I am, guys. But you know what I mean? It's just an example. So anyway, so from there, obviously we've done this. We've gone to 52 cent. And what I've been talking about since we looked at it here and we looked at it here, that we're continuing downwards. We've had a massive expansion, bigger, same expansion as here, expansion, retracement. These are good retracements. These are tiny candle or not that big candles, interlocked with some black candles, or which are the down candles, by the way. Slow retracements, expansion, retracement. This is good price action. Expansion, I could expect a retracement, 44, whatever, and then continue downwards. And again, the confident thing for me as well was there's not really much of difficulty in this area. We have some equal lows here. We could maybe see a bit of a deeper move back up, maybe towards 45 if we hit 42. But other than that, again, technically, lower high. What do we look for in a downtrend? Lower low. So when I finished off on Tuesday, when I finished off yesterday, when I looked at SERP, and what I'm going to finish off today with is, from what it looks like to me, as we are considering downwards, we should expect price to aim lows and maybe come to somewhere near 38.5. Now, again, what I said yesterday, said day before as well on Tuesday, this doesn't mean I think SERP's going to go down forever. Especially seeing as though if we hit past this low and we're coming past all these major lows, we could see reversals. You know what I mean? We could see reversals, especially if we come to about 35 as well. We could see major reversals. So even if you have SERP, it's like, yeah, you could. I mean, again, I'm not going to suggest, I'm not going to say anything because, again, not financial advice, but, and you know what, Mike said this because obviously Mike has the wallet which has our SERP in it. And I forgot to tell him to actually sell. We actually didn't sell, even though we've been talking about us coming down 52. We were joking about it yesterday, like we should have sold when I was talking about it. But yeah, we didn't sell, but we should have. So I'm not saying sell, I'm not saying anything, but I'm just giving my opinions. That I think we're continuing downwards towards new lows. But again, if we come past this low and we start to show signs of reversing, even if we come past 35, we come past all these like major lows and we start to do reversals and we start to expand upwards and do all these sorts of things, then I will start to be positive again. It's like it's not I can't be permanently negative, permanently positive. It's just it's situational. Anyway, Sui. Just there's not really much for me to say. I think I just want to give a quick update on what I talked about. So. Tuesday, I think I was talking about I was continuing to fill this gap, and then I was coming downwards basically, aiming for the low. I think this is what I had drawn, and yeah, we're doing that. I mean, to be fair with this, though, I mean, like we have to pay attention to, okay, well, we have, you know, highs. We've finished the rest of this. Daily, we have printed past this low. Obviously, we have come to support for retrace. And this is the thing, though, like, I think I was looking on the weekly for this. Was I? I think I was. Where we had this retracement, but then we had this resistance because we printed, on the daily anyway, we printed past this low. Like we came up, we had this low, we had this high, which printed above this high, so technically new higher high, and then we did a lower low. And yes, we did retrace, we did a lower low. And now we've come up to this, and now we're kind of slowing down a bit, especially on the 4 hour, we're starting to come down a bit. So I was saying like, oh yeah, I could expect Sui to come down a tiny bit, and I think I still stick to that. You know, I'm seeing, you know, I'm not on the fence. I mean, it's sometimes when you look at the chart, it's a lot easier to just go, yep, that's down. There you go. And then sometimes it's like, yeah, I think from what I have, this is probably going to continue downwards, but obviously there's always that thing where it's like, oh, well, it could go upwards. But I think, yeah, I still stand with the idea that it could continue downwards. But I think I give the price of, I think I could expect price to go a bit deeper than when we are, especially seeing as though, especially with this latest move where we've had the uptrend and we've had a move upwards, and then we had a considerable, you know, move downwards where we had this major low, and then we moved up to print past a high, a major high, and this high. So again, similar to what we've done with Solana as well, where we've had a high and then a major high. With these two major highs, we've come past and done this and printed. So again, obviously with Solana, it's like, oh, well, you know, we've printed. But, we've printed, this should be an uptrend. Well, we had massive expansion. The response from this is massive expansion, and we didn't hold support here. Again, with this, if we had, if this candle printed like at 425, I would be a lot more confident to continue upwards. But for the fact that we had a massive expansion downwards and we only left this to be the gap, this was just not great price action. And then we printed down, we've come past this, and now we've retraced, and this is the major gap from our expansion. Major expansion, you know, this is like multiple days of us coming down. Multiple days of us coming down. And now we've just retraced back up into it. We've filled the entire thing, and we could have potential to come downwards. And yeah, to be fair, it's like, okay, we've come up, we've come down, we've come up again, and we've printed above this. So yeah, okay, cool, could be an uptrend, but you know what I mean? It's like the higher time frame is that we should just fill this gap and continue downwards. But the continued downwards is only really, you know, towards about, I think I said about $3.20 last stream. I think I was talking about $3.20. I could be corrected if I was wrong, but it was basically this gap, and it was basically about $3.10, $3.50, $3.20. Coming past these lows, coming to this area, where we could see that move. Because, yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, to be fair, like, because it's like we can come deeper and then still come upwards. It's not that, you know, it's not super, it's not a super strict thing, but I think, I mean, on the weekly, it's like, you know, we have this move up, we have this move down, we have this move upwards, and if we could continue downwards, as long as we don't go past $2.29, we're still in this move where we've had this move upwards. And yes, we did, we had this move up, move down. We didn't do a higher high, but it's not, you don't really have to fully focus on the highs. It's like, okay, if you're putting a higher low and then doing a higher high, well, that's fine. We haven't really, it's not like we did this and then came down. We just did this, and now we're still moving upwards. So it's still the same scenario where, okay, if we're doing this, then we could expect to continue upwards on the weekly as well. So, you know what I mean? So Sui, I'm still standing with what I've talked about last stream. With this whole move, with filling this gap and continuing downwards. Obviously, we took this area. We had the gap we actually focused on really was this old one. If you really cascade it downwards to the 4 hour, was this main one anyway. It was actually quite a deep retracement if you look at it from here. Actually, no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Actually, it was a great retracement on the 4 hour. If we look from the major highs to the major low, and then the uptrend upwards. And again, this is why I'm not like, oh, well, look, we're in an uptrend. Okay, we've printed past this major low. And now we're just coming upwards to do a major lower high and then come downwards. Same thing we looked at the Bitcoin. This is why I got quiet on Bitcoin. So this is why I need to be more strict on the strategy rather than my feelings. So again, you know, major expansionary downwards, small retracement, expansionary downwards, uptrend. Yep, cool, whatever. We've come to the main area. We've filled the rest of this gap. Obviously, in this case, it was more this area. To be fair. You know, around there, obviously we have these highs as well. So this general area, you know, we've come to about $4.10, $4.15, $4.18 actually, and now we've started to expand downwards. So I'm still standing on my opinion. Remember, opinion that we are continuing downwards And if we go to the daily, we've just done a lower high and continue downwards towards about $3.10, $3.20, whichever I said exactly down here. And yes, we could, and if this is the gap, we could fill the entire thing, which sits at about $2.90. But again, $3 is probably going to be quite an important number anyway. So somewhere within that $3, $3.10 is what I would say for Sui. But again, I'm not, not super negative Nancy. I'm not saying it's going to be permanently over for Sui, because again, we come down to this area. We reverse and we start to uptrend and we aim for the highs again and we go towards $4.40 and there you go. So yeah, anyway, I have now got 1 minute and 40 seconds. I'm going to do a speed run of Tom. Let's just go to this one, I guess. Okay, so let's go to the weekly. Let's just really look at it on the high time frame. So what do we have? We have obviously move upwards and then we kind of come down. And then obviously we have kind of major low area. If you really just like obfuscate it, it's like this. Major low, come down. Okay, cool. So relatively high time frame downtrend. Okay, brilliant. So we've established this. Daily wise, let's see. Obviously we start this downtrend, massive expansion downwards. If we go from the relative high about here towards this low, we can see the retracement of this for the downtrend, where we have the gap sitting. So let's see where the gap sits exactly. So we have that to that. And then we kind of tickle into this area. If I was to look at this live, I probably would have, said a bit higher. But obviously, we have, as soon as you... Oh, actually, to be fair, we have all these highs here, which we've come past as well. But again, like I said, as soon as you get past that equilibrium, you want to watch for that movement. If we go to the 4 hour of that movement, I do want to have a little quick look. So same thing here. We have this high. We have this. We have this move upwards. And now we are above equilibrium. We are into point of interest. And we have this high here, very similar, kind of similar to Solana actually, where we form the gap and then we've come into it a bit on the 4th of February 2025. If I draw this across, we can see we have these highs, very similar to what we have right now actually. Solana, Ton, all these things where, okay, cool, we're above equilibrium, we've come into this major gap area, we have this high, we have the major high, we just about wick past it, and then we start to have a move downwards. We have a bit of a gap here, which we fill, and then we start to expand downwards, and then we have come down. So that's, I just want to look at it on the 4 hour just to see that, watch that reversal. So let me delete this and go back to a bit of a higher time frame on the daily here. So again, okay, we had that expansion downwards. But in this case, we can see like, okay, major low, retracement. We didn't continue to actually hit this low yet. So actually pretty good. Because again, remember, and this is the same thing we have with Ethereum on right now. Because again, the major low for Ethereum was 2,800. But I was saying as well, 3,500 is a major gap. So even though my chart says, oh, well, we've done this massive high, we should come for the lows, we have also had a massive expansion to come upwards. Do you know what I mean? So it's, kind of relative, I suppose. And we come to, obviously, have these kind of high lows on the way upwards. And then we fill the rest of this, which is good. And then we fill the rest of that, kind of outlining the last low, and now we've kind of started this uptrend, and then majorly we've started to print above this again. Major highs about here, I would say that, but even us wicking past this major high hasn't really resulted in a massive move downwards, especially if we consider on the way up anyway. We have a gap here with this candle, which it gets kind of engulfed, if you will, or whatever. Actually, I'll probably look at it back here. We have actually no, I don't want that. This isn't a candle. This isn't a candle. Really looking at it from here, we can see, I want to get it properly here. Relative midpoint usage, boom, like coming up to here. We have this here, where we kind of just about, we actually wick outside of it, to be fair, I'm not gonna lie. But we are continuing upwards. We did expand downwards as of late, but we are in this massive uptrend, especially with this expansion we had back here. But we are putting above this, so it does look like we are in the midst of a move upwards. Especially if you can also consider on this time frame, on the weekly. If you look at the candle bodies, we have started that move upwards, and we still have this miniature gap here. So if we do it from the relatively latest low to the high, and then draw this, we can see we have this residing at about $3 as well. So what I would probably say about this is, especially with the weekly, we have, okay, cool. We have the massive move down, massive retracement, big expansion. And then we kind of start, we did print past this. We have a big expansion upwards. which actually prints past these areas here, and now we have this expansion, which looks like we're starting to come down into. So what I will say about TON in my final resting moments, I know I'm a bit over on the 10 o'clock, is I could expect us to continue downwards a bit more. Or obviously we are in this uptrend, but we could definitely slow down. Considering if you have this massive wick, we've used it, and then we had expansion downwards from that wick. And if you see with this gap we have here, we actually fill the entire thing here. So what there is potential, in my opinion, if we look at it, and obviously, you know, we have this sort of movement, we could expect to come downwards. And I would only really say about $3 down here. I don't know if this is the kickstart of a massive dump for TON, but I would probably say to fulfill the rest of this, you know, move downwards. And then if we do a higher low, obviously not financial advice, I will watch it as it goes. I can probably keep it in my, you know, in my peripheral. I would probably aim towards about $2.50 free, and then see if we could continue back upwards, considering we have this potential. And us coming for the candle bodies doesn't necessarily mean we're in an uptrend. This isn't a. It's a lot less strong as if we printed above $3.70. But what I will say is we did have expansionary movement, you know, nonetheless, in this move for TON. So I will probably look at about $3, $2.50 for it, and see if we could edge back upwards towards these areas. But also bearing in mind, this is still not outstanding, but this is still a massive area for TON for $4.48. This is a massive gap. So even if we come above this, this is a kind of a major high for a massive expansion downwards, and we have this massive expansion which we only kind of tickled into. So, you know, I could see a bit of resistance in here, but even if we see resistance and we're in a massive uptrend, it doesn't necessarily mean we start an immediate downtrend. We could continue upwards, but that's a lot further in the future for TON. So what I will leave you off with is about $2.50 if we continue downwards, based on the fact that we could start on the daily anyway, considering this major high, wicking past it, really choppy move here, expansion downwards, which we come to fulfill, and then obviously if we start to move downwards, again, this is the daily, it'll take some time, probably see us come towards about $3, maybe coming past these lows and, you know, seeing us come down. But also bearing in mind, you know, this could be a bit of a support area from what we have. Again, major candle, which then comes into this gap, which we then engulf with this move upwards. And if we look at how we've used it, we can see we used the midpoint here. So maybe coming to the bottom of it, which is again about $3. So that is what I will leave TON off with. I know I've yapped. I'm about 9 minutes over. I did start the stream maybe 3 minutes over, so not too bad. There you go. That's TON, in my opinion, not financial advice at all. I could be very wrong. What I will do, let me get there. There we go. So next time I'm streaming, I'm not streaming Friday. I don't stream Fridays. I am streaming Saturday. It might be a double stream, because, you know, I enjoy streaming, so I don't mind doing a double stream. You know, do one in the morning, and it makes my afternoon stream easier. So if you can catch it, UTC +2, 12 p.m. Or 12, you know, well, midday, whatever. Obviously adjust that to whatever time zone you're in. I can't say every time zone because I'll be here all night. So if you want to see that, you can join it. We will be with Yikes. We will be talking about the markets as a whole and some breaking news, and we will look at the charts again. Obviously, you know, a few days in between now and Saturday, so we have some time for the markets to continue their movements. But don't worry, because I will try and stream also in the afternoon, same time as it is right now. So if you join the stream and you're new, or obviously if you're relatively new and you enjoyed it and you want to come tomorrow and you liked it, I'll be back Saturday with another stream, 2 streams. And I will do the exact same thing. I will probably be a bit faster because I would have covered Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana at least already in the daytime, so I'll be maybe a bit faster. And if you want to talk to me about anything, the charts wise, I mean, obviously, if you're having, you know, if you want to talk about anything, join the stream, join the Telegram, I mean, and yeah, I'll be there if you at me, and that's it. That's all I've got to say. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. It's been about an hour and 6 minutes now, so that is all I have to say. So thank you very much, all of you, for joining. If you're new, old, or any in between, appreciate it. You know, being consistent, or, you know, if you came and you enjoyed it, consider subscribing, or wherever you. Again, if you're on Binance Square, follow. I don't know if there's notifications there, but if you're on YouTube, obviously notifications, subscribe notifications, as you probably know by everyone you watch, always ask for it. But, you know, obviously it does help us. So I'll be back Saturday. I'll be in Telegram. Appreciate you all. Shout out to you all. I will also say, for the people who are new on Binance Square, and you want, and anything to reside with you, it would be join the quiz next Wednesday. It is awesome. It is really cool. You know, if you want more information, you can go to Telegram, you can see it. If not, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch the second or third or fourth latest stream, and you can go watch back the quiz if you want to go see it. It's really cool. So that's all I have to shill. That's all I have to say. A gutless, spineless shiller. You know, I'm selling all of our channel. Okay, but don't worry. I will stop now. Thank you. See you Saturday. See you in Telegram. Goodbye.